So Trish, what does being faith-filled mean to you?
It means that I take my faith seriously and that I'm active in my church community and my parish, that I serve others in whatever way that I can serve them at that particular time. I love to go to adoration once a week, and if I can go to daily mass, that's nice too. And I try to take a no excuses approach to weekend masses. We just don't miss it. You know, we might have to change the time, or if we're traveling, maybe the place, but it's just essential to go every week. We need to hear the word every week.
Would you want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges you're facing in your life right now?
Sure. My husband was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer last summer, so that treatment entailed a surgery in July, then chemo, and then a second surgery 4 days after Christmas last year, and then more chemo after that. And it's been a stressful time just dealing with the uncertainty of not knowing exactly what's going to happen with all the treatment and what's going to happen in, say, 5 years from now. Balancing time demands with community service and service to the school and just being a mom. And then also my son applied to Catholic high schools this fall, so just dealing with the whole process and making sure that none of the deadlines were missed. It's been stressful just trying to deal with that. We're a one-income family and he's the breadwinner, so to speak. So just trying to think about the future and how is everything going to play out. We don't know. And balancing time demands with his treatment, just trying to get everything done and help out around the house.
Yeah, and so those are some enormous challenges. I mean, I can't even imagine how you're handling it, but you seem to be doing it so well, and I have to believe your faith is a big part of that. Could you just talk about how your faith is feeding you, how Christ is feeding you through all these challenges?
It is a challenge, but my faith is everything to me. So I decided when this whole thing started and I found out that Brian was sick, I realized I have a choice I have to make. I can either handle this in a good way and stay close to the church, or this could be handled in a bad way, because I've seen people handle difficult decisions and difficult situations in a not so good way. So I said I'm going to stay close to the church. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. And also I've been trying to make sure that I take care of myself as a caretaker, because if I can't provide help to him, if I don't take care of myself, I can't help him.
Can you also, because I know you well enough to know you're a pretty well organized person, so I'm imagining that for you, organization and scheduling is a big part of getting through this and facing these challenges.
It is.
Could you just maybe share a little bit about your routine when it comes to prayer and worship, and maybe you talked about taking care of yourself?
Well, with prayer and worship, I'd like to go to Mass on Saturday night, so we always go to Mass no matter what. I mean, we just don't miss it. And if we're not in town, then we'll go to masstimes.org and find a Mass at wherever we're going to be. But we're not out of town that much. But I always try to make sure that we get to church. And then for adoration, I really, really love the adoration time that I have. And I try to carve out at least an hour every week. It depends on the kids' schedule, because since the kids go to school here, I try to get here early, like around 2 o'clock, and then I'll go into the church from 2 to like 2:45 and pray and read, and then come out when they come out for dismissal. And then if they have a late dismissal, I'll just come to adoration in the evening. But I found, like with adoration, it gets a little distracting if I try to just pray the whole time. So I pray and then I bring a spiritual book.
Right.
And I go back and forth between praying and then reading and praying and reading, and that seems to work well.
That's great.
But it really focuses me and keeps my eye on what's most important. And that, I think, is the church and faith. And it gives you the broader picture, like everything's going to be okay. And I know with adoration, there have been times when I walked in and I might try to think about the answer to a particular question or something I'm struggling with, and I can't figure out what to do or what's God's will, and then I go into adoration and things just seem to be a little bit clearer when I walk out.
That's amazing, and that's really inspiring, and it's pretty clear from what you've shared that you're finding God and Jesus feeding you and supporting you. Now, I guess my last question would be, how are you being a source of support and feeding others that are also going through these challenges, like your family and perhaps your friends?
Well, everybody has different challenges, so I try to help people when I can, where I can. If it's just me sitting down and talking to a friend over a cup of coffee and listening to their problems, that's great. If I could cook a meal or show up for somebody and support them in whatever way they may need, I just try to do that when I can.